Have you ever met someone who seems to read your mind, yet gets completely overwhelmed by everyday situations that don't bother anyone else? That's probably an INFJ. You're thinking of one of the rarest personality types out there. But what really gets under their skin? What makes these intuitive empaths tick? Or rather, what ticks them off? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the INFJ mind to uncover what really irritates these complex individuals. Whether you're an INFJ yourself or trying to understand one better, you're about to discover why these sensitive souls sometimes feel like they're from another planet. The hidden triggers of an INFJ's frustration. Let's be real, INFJ might seem calm and collected on the outside, but there's a whole storm of emotions brewing beneath that peaceful exterior. They're like those fancy pressure cookers. They can handle the heat. But when the pressure builds up, watch out. Here's what really sets them off. 1. Small talk, the ultimate energy vampire. Picture this: you're at a party, and someone's talking about the weather. Again, for an INFJ, this isn't just boring, it's actually painful. These deep thinkers crave meaningful conversations like plants crave sunlight. When they're stuck in endless chatter about weekend plans or office gossip, it's like being stuck in an elevator playing nothing but muzak. They're not trying to be snobs, they just can't help but think, we could be solving world hunger right now instead of discussing your neighbor's new fence. 2. Fake people, the INFJ's kryptonite. You know that person who acts super friendly to your face but then talks behind your back. INFJ can spot them from a mile away. Thanks to their intuition, which is basically their superpower, they can sense inauthentic behavior like a shark smells blood in the water. What makes it worse? They often can't just call it out without looking like they're the crazy ones. How did you know she was being fake? Because I just know, okay. 3. Emotional overwhelm in crowded spaces. Here's where it gets really interesting. INFJ don't just see crowds, they feel them. Imagine walking into a mall and suddenly being hit with everyone's emotions at once. Happy, sad, angry, anxious, it's all coming at them like a tsunami of feelings. No wonder they need to hibernate after social events. It's not introversion alone, it's emotional overload. 4. When nobody gets their vision. Ever tried explaining a complex dream to someone, and they just stare at you blankly? Welcome to an INFJ's daily life. These visionaries often see connections and possibilities that others miss completely. When they try to share their insights and get met with, but that's not practical, or that's not how things work, it's like someone's taking a pin to their balloon of enthusiasm. 5. Injustice and cruelty, the blood-boiling moments. Here's where INFJ really show their passionate side. Witnessing injustice, whether it's someone being rude to a waiter or systemic inequality, hits them right in the gut. They're not just bothered, they're personally offended. The worst part, they often feel powerless to fix everything, which drives them absolutely crazy. 6. The efficiency experts who Mississippi the human element. Let me paint you a picture. There's a meeting about streamlining processes at work. Everyone's focused on numbers and efficiency, but the INFJ is sitting there thinking about how these changes will affect people's lives. When others dismiss these human concerns as soft factors, INFJ feel like they're taking crazy pills. Don't they see that people are the bottom line? 7. When their need for alone time isn't respected. Why are you being so antisocial? If INFJ had $1 for every time they heard this, they could buy their own private island, which, let's be honest, sounds like heaven to them. Their need for solitude isn't a rejection of others, it's as essential as breathing. Having to explain this repeatedly is exhausting. 8. The world's obsession with external validation. In an age of social media likes and constant sharing, INFJ feel like aliens watching a strange ritual. They see people chasing validation through selfies and status updates, and it makes them want to scream, is anyone else seeing how shallow this is? Their frustration isn't judgment, it's genuine concern for humanity's soul. 9. Being misunderstood again and again. Here's the real kicker: INFJ often feel like they're speaking a different language. They understand others deeply but rarely feel understood themselves. It's like being a foreign exchange student who can understand the local language perfectly but can only speak in riddles. The constant need to explain themselves or their actions gets old really fast. 10. When their intuition is dismissed. You're just being paranoid, you're reading too much into things, famous last words before an INFJ's intuition proves right. Again, having their insights dismissed as overthinking is like telling an artist they're using too many colors. It's literally how they process the world. 11. The pressure to just get over it. INFJ process emotions deeply. Like vintage wine, it takes time and the right conditions. When people push them to move on quickly from hurt or disappointment, it's like trying to microwave that wine. It doesn't work that way. They need time to process, reflect, and make sense of their feelings. 12. Surface-level relationships. For an INFJ, having lots of acquaintances but few deep friendships is like being starving at a buffet where all the food is plastic. They crave depth in relationships like others crave oxygen. Small talk and superficial connections aren't just unsatisfying, they're emotionally draining. The impact of these irritations. All these frustrations add up, creating what I like to call the INFJ pressure cooker effect. When these sensitive souls get overwhelmed by too many of these triggers, they might suddenly disappear from social circles, the famous INFJ door slam, feel physically exhausted or sick, become uncharacteristically snippy or sarcastic, or retreat into their rich inner world, experience anxiety or emotional overload. But here's the thing, INFJ aren't just complaining for the sake of it. Their irritations often stem from a deep desire to see the world become a better place. They're frustrated because they can see so clearly how things could be improved, but feel powerless to make all the changes they envision. Understanding these triggers a path forward. So what can we do with all this information? Whether you're an INFJ or someone who loves one, understanding these triggers is crucial. For INFJ, it's about setting healthy boundaries, finding like-minded people who get you, creating regular alone time for recharging, learning to trust and express their intuition, finding constructive ways to channel their idealism. For those who have INFJ in their lives, respect their need for depth and meaning. Trust their intuition, it's usually right. Give them space when they need it. Engage them in meaningful conversations. Support their visions, even if they seem unusual. Conclusion, the INFJ paradox. At the end of the day, what irritates INFJ the most often comes down to one core issue: the disconnect between their ideal vision of how things could be and the reality of how things are. They're idealists living in a practical world, empaths in a sometimes callous society, deep thinkers in an often shallow culture. But here's the beautiful paradox: these very things that irritate them also make them incredible forces for positive change. Their frustration with superficiality leads them to create deeper connections. Their irritation with injustice drives them to fight for what's right. Their discomfort with emotional dishonesty helps others learn to be more authentic. So to all the INFJ watching, your sensitivity isn't a weakness. Your deep feelings aren't too much. Your intuition isn't wrong. You're not alone in feeling these frustrations, and the world needs your unique perspective, even if it doesn't always seem to appreciate it. And to everyone else, next time you meet someone who seems to feel everything a little too deeply, who thinks a little too much, who needs a little more quiet than most, remember this video. You might just be dealing with an INFJ, and now you know what makes them tick and what ticks them off. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more content about understanding personality types and human psychology. Drop a comment below if you're an INFJ and let us know what else gets under your skin, or if you've learned something new about the INFJ in your life.